What do we need from a Pro controller? 2 extra buttons? 4 extra buttons? How about 6 extra buttons? And some RGB goodness. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing my first impressions of Razer Wolverine Chroma V2, a wired PC and Xbox controller like no other. Let's take a look. The controller costs $149.99 here in UK, and for that price you get the controller, a 10-foot long USB-C braided cable, which you will need as this is a wired only controller. You get 2 standard concave thumbsticks, 1 long concave thumbstick and 1 short dome thumbstick. There is no hard case in the box, but the box does have foam inserts, so you could use it to store the controller. Looking at the design of the controller, I have to say Razer has done an amazing job. The design is very minimalist and very beautiful. It is based on a traditional Xbox layout, so your Xbox style thumbsticks, ABXY button and the D-pad, they are all in the standard position, but the ergonomics and the overall look and feel of the controller is very different to a standard Xbox controller. On the front of the controller, we have this multifunction button which is used to control your headset volume and game and volume chat mix. Unfortunately, you cannot mute the mic with this button, so you will have to use the software in your Xbox, or hopefully you have the option on your headset itself to mute your mic. Looking at the back of the controller, we have 4 extra buttons which are remappable to any face button you like, and at the top next to the bumpers and triggers we have 2 extra buttons here. Again, you can program any function of the face buttons you like to these 2 upper buttons as well. To map the functions of these buttons, you have to use the Razer's own software, either on Xbox or PC. Unfortunately, there are no controls on the controller itself to map any functions on the fly. So you will have to use the Razer software. The software also allows you to control the RGB lighting, allows you to control the vibration functions of the controller, and also the dead zones of the thumbsticks. So comparing this to a standard Xbox controller, I have to say Razer have really designed this from the ground up. Now, Razer have used the traditional Xbox thumbstick layout, but the feel, even the look of this controller is very different to a standard Xbox controller. The grips at the edges are much thicker, the controller is a bit wider. Now, I personally can see why Razer have made these changes. They would like people to be able to use the back buttons and the top buttons with relative ease. The only thing here is, if you are used to a normal Xbox controller, this is a bit of an adjustment. And if you go back and forth between these controllers, I can see some people having to get too used to it. It's like you learn this controller. Now, ergonomically, it's a very good feel in your hand. And the grips are nice. They're not rubber, they're still plastic, but they have a really fine texture which really helps with the grip. And the triggers are designed very well. One thing that really surprised me was the placement of these top 2 buttons. Looking at the pictures before I ordered this controller, I was thinking that, oh, I will be accidentally pressing these, or maybe the bumper of the trigger all the time, but no, this is a very deliberate press. So if you want to use them, it's not like you'll be mispressing them. The back buttons, they are sort of out of the way. So if you don't want to use them, they are out of the way. You can just hold the controller like this. But the whole point of this controller is you want to have some extra buttons at the back. So what I have been able to do is use the left 2. I haven't been able to train myself to use the right one, but that's how I have always played. I tend to grip a lot more on my right hand for aiming, but the good thing here is I have been using this with my right hand, the top button here, the extra top button, for weapon swaps, and it's worked perfectly for me. And also it's a tactile press. I never thought I was gonna say that. I thought buttons are buttons, but man, these presses are so good. Also the ABXY buttons are mechanical tactile buttons, and the D-pad, the whole controller just feels, and the bumpers, you know, very tactile feeling, and these 2 extra buttons. The triggers are your normal style triggers. They do have trigger stops, which cuts about, I would say, 50% of the travel. So overall, really good controller. One thing I have to say, this with these face buttons and stuff, it does make me want to play some games where I could utilize those buttons. Like, I remember I played Hades with my Elite controller, and unfortunately Hades has left the Xbox Game Pass now, I think so, and I was like, I really want to play that game again. So no other controller before made me feel like, to play a certain type of game. It's always been the game that's the driving factor of what you want to play. Controller comes after. So, but I have to say, yeah, well done on these buttons. I never thought I would like them so much. It's so satisfying. One thing I've been doing, so I mainly play Call of Duty or Halo. I have mapped my left top button to the left thumbstick. So to do tactical sprint or sprinting, sometimes when you are moving the thumbstick and trying to press it at the same time, you can have like mispresses or it doesn't register, or I felt like that. So having it as my left thumbstick, I am sprinting all the time, and it's just, after doing like 2 sessions like that, I tried playing with my Turtle Beach Recon, and I was looking for the button there. I wasn't pressing the thumbstick, I was actually looking for the button on the top, and I realized, oh no, it doesn't have it. So that's the thing. Once you get used to this, every other controller which is based on the Xbox controller, it's a bit, it's a bit of an adjustment. It's not like you can't play. You can play, but you have to tell yourself, okay, I'm on a different controller, that those functions are not there. So that's the feel that I do. I don't want to do a full review right now because I am in the honeymoon phase with this controller. I am loving it, and I don't want to just say everything is positive, because I'm sure I am coming across some things that I don't like. So I mentioned earlier, there is no mic mute button here. So to mute your mic, you either have to have the option on your headset or you have to use the software options in your Xbox. The other thing is, you can have as many profiles as you want, but there is no profile switcher on the controller itself. So if you are playing a game, you will literally have to get out of your game, go into the Razer profile, change Razer software, change the profile, and then come back to your game. That's too long. Now I can see it having 6 buttons. They think like, okay, people not gonna need different profiles. But yeah, it could happen that, in a game you need the back buttons to do different things depending on what you are doing, but they've decided to go a different way. I don't think, maybe they could add something via software update or whatever, but I haven't found anything. You just have to go into the software itself and do it. Other than that, all my sessions have been very, very positive. I have to say, it looks beautiful, RGB lighting, you don't really need it, but it's just like, it's there, you connect it, it lights up, you have different options, you can have pulsing, you can have cycling through colors, you can have an aesthetic color. Of course it's an aesthetic option. I'd much rather they give me maybe a hard case or something and take that out, but they've decided to go with it. They decided to make a beautiful controller, and I say I do appreciate it. Build quality wise, for the week I've had it, it's been solid. I try to play with my other controllers, but I have to say I am really loving this one. I'm putting a lot more time on this than my other controllers. But like I said, this is my first impression, so I've only had like 2-3 days of gaming with this. And I will do a full review once I have at least had, 3 weeks to a month on it. Also, I will compare it to the Elite Series 2. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. I think that will be an amazing comparison, because these two are like, the pro controllers. So Elite Series 2 is Microsoft's controller. It's wireless, I guess it has that benefit over this. But the feel, I think this is going to be very interesting compared. So I have the Elite Series 1 here. I have Elite Series 2 on the way. So that will be amazing to compare these two. But yeah, these are my first impressions, and hopefully I will see you in whatever video I post next. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment below. And thank you for watching this video. 4 extra buttons. Okay.